Alright. Well, anyway, I went to a flea market and bought this N-Power 15-watt digital power inverter. Took it apart and hooked up my system here. And this is running off a 12-volt motorcycle battery. And anyhow, this is off right now. The circuit of this is off. I tested these two capacitors here. They kick out 198 volts of current. Anyhow, I have my my string of LCD lights hooked up here and running off the battery, but the back half of this inverter is off. It's not on, but it is running. But it's running right now. See, there it is right there, and it's producing enough power, 7.7 volts, to keep this LED on. See, this LED light right there, and I'll hook this up here. These leads to the negative and the positive here, and that's kicking out 8.3 volts. And it's not draining the battery, so it's kind of like, I don't know if it's kicking back and forth the capacitors to keep the system running, but it's running on its own right now, just off of being, but it's not draining the LCD lights. Here. See, here's the positive and negative. I'll disconnect that and I'll watch it go dim. It went dim, and I'll hook it back up, and it brought the LCD lights back on. Now, LED lights. Now see, what I need is for amps, is to find amps to keep the battery. What I'm trying to do is to recycle current back into the battery. So I was thinking this Genius booster, right here, the front half of this right here, if you took the circuit out, hooked it up to this in some configuration here, to send 1 to 2 to 3 amps back to the motorcycle battery so it would recirculate. You know, it's one of those experiments you work on that you see if you can produce power. Here's my here's the other gizmo I worked on. It seems to kick out current when I run this gear motor with the dimmer switch controller and the whirlpool generator and the small capacitors. But this is baffling here, because this is off. Here's the switch to turn it on. If you're gonna see, I can turn it on now, but it'll see what it does, and it dims the lights, but that's only if you got 24 volts running to it. So I have to disconnect it to turn it off to reset it, and then now it's off. And there's the LCD lights. So this front half of the inverter seems to be self-running this LCD lights. Why, I do not know. It's just an experiment.